I'm going to do it myself. I'll do it myself. I think that I can do this. What do you mean you think you can do this? You've got me. Have I ever left you before? Look at everything you've been through. Through, Zona, through. But how did this happen? If I'm serving you, then how did this happen? He said, because you got out of my will. I said, what do you mean I got out of your will? I didn't see it. He said, you got out of my will. You stopped your field ministry. Decided to stay home. I said, okay. He said, you've got to carry on the field ministry. I said, okay. When's the last time you've been out in the field? And I said, probably once in 3 years. When did the attack start? 2007. Hello? Do you understand? Your life is not your own. You made a commitment to me, and you said you wanted to carry it on. Your life is not your own. You can never, ever, the rest of your life, be like everybody else. I said, well, I'm not any better than anybody. No, but I don't have a lot of people that tell the truth. They want to candy coat it. He said, I've trained you to walk up to a person and say, you've got a devil. He said, how many people has ever said that? He said, you've learned from the best. You were a child when you met Lester Summerall. You watched him. You were in his meetings. You know exactly how he operated. You've been with Brother Hagin all your life, just about. And then you have Norval Hayes as your father. You've seen the kind of things he teaches. He said you've had 3 different generals sow into your life. He said, now I said, yeah, but I'm not better than everybody. No, I didn't say that. We just carry on a conversation. He said, but your life is not your own. And you need to let Terry know that. Once you've make a commitment to me, you can't go back on it. Because if you do, I'll bring you home early. Why would I need you on earth if you're not going to make a difference? That's how the devil got in. John 16:33 says, these things I've spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Sometimes people only read part of this verse in closing. In the world you shall have tribulation. Well, I've even seen people cry and shout over things like that. Tribulation? What's tribulation? All the things that the devil will throw at you. How are you going to handle it? No matter what's thrown at you, you need to worship God. Yeah, it doesn't matter what's thrown at you. You need to watch your mouth, watch your temper, and worship God. See, Jesus told us to be of good cheer. You can't be of good cheer unless you have the right picture in your mind. You know, it's just exactly like going to Jairus, and just exactly like Daniel. What if you were in Daniel's shoes and all you could see was that lion licking his lips? That's all you could see. That lion licking his lips, and you're his next meal. What would you do if you were in a den, Ryan, and that lion was over there and he was just going... What you see is determined by your faith in the oracles of God. See, if your faith is in God, His sayings will determine what you see. His sayings will determine it. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. What did the Hebrew children do? They spoke according to the Word of God. What did Daniel do? He spoke according to the Word of God. Because they learned to trust God. That's what you've got to do. When you go through a fiery trial, when you go through tribulation, you've got to learn to trust God. Jesus tells us, be of good cheer in the middle of a tribulation in the world because He overcame the world. It was like Jairus. He was right in the middle of tribulation. Just like my dad, when he said, how long, what is God going to have to do to bring you back to Him? I said, bring me back to Him? I'm not going back to Him. I'm not going to serve Him ever again. I don't want anything to do with Him. Do you hate Him that bad? I don't hate Him. I just don't understand why Mother left. I don't understand. What did I do? Because she sat me down when I was 8, and she said, let me tell you something. Me and your father are divorcing, and you are moving to Tennessee because you want to, but this is all your fault. Had you not been born, I would be able to be with your father. And it'd be just me and him, and I could have him all to myself. But no, you were born, and you caused this divorce. I lived with that till I was 35. Then finally, it dawned on me one day. I was looking at Lee, and I thought, she couldn't cause me and her father to get a divorce. I didn't do that. It dawned on me one day. But I lived with that till I was I was probably about 32, right after Lee was born. And I'm telling you right now, parents need to watch what they say to their children. Amen. You know why I got an eating disorder? You want me to tell you why? What started when I got anorexia? When I was 19, for 12 and a half years. What started it was I was never small enough for my family. When I was a little girl, when I was like 6 years old or 7 years old, my mother would say, let's go shopping, but we'll have to go in the chubby section for you. And I would hide under the clothes, where the clothes racks were. I'd hide under them so she wouldn't make me try clothes on. That stuck with me for the rest of my life. And then her and my dad would put me on a diet. You've got to watch what you say to your children. Totally watch what you say. So you and I can say that because He is in us, we are in Him. We can do that because He is in us. There's a lot of things in life, through your childhood, through everything, that you can overcome. I had a lady say the other day, I said, well, why do you act like that? She said, and she's 63 years old. And I said, why do you act like that? She said, well, because of my childhood. I said, you're 63. What do you mean because of your childhood? My Lord, have you not dealt with it yet? Well, I said, you need to forgive them. My God, they've been gone for years. You need to forgive them. You're 63. It needs to be of the past. Well, Genevieve, you know how I was when I came here. In the 80s, I was a wreck where my mother was concerned. I'm in a total wreck where women were concerned. Total women. I didn't want anything to do with any women. You know that. You remember that. I mean, nothing. I didn't trust any of them. You got to be kidding. They'd come to the book and table. I go, my dad's not available, so leave him alone. because he was single then, and they were always trying to get to Zona to get to Brother Norval. Because they knew if you want to get on the good side of Brother Norval, you just talk about how much you love Zona. Then you would get on the good side of them. I had a lady patted, but she tapped me on the back one day in the service, and she said, "You know that I'm going to be your mother." I said, "Get out in the hall." And she went out to the hall, and I stood there. My dad was speaking. I stood there. I said, "You're sent from hell. You are the devil himself. I'm telling you right now, I bind you. You're not taking my daddy. I don't even know who you are, you wild woman, you." And my dad, Jimmy Dupree, was standing at the back of the meeting, and my dad said, "Jimmy, come up here." And so he whispered to Jimmy, he said, "Zona is out in the hall pointing a finger at a woman's face. I need to go out there." So he came out there, and my dad said, he came out there and he said, "What in the world?" I said, "This woman is sent from Lucifer. She is from the devil. Do you understand me? She says that she's going to be my mother. I don't know who she is." He went, "Well, you wild woman, who are you?" He said, "I don't know who you are." And she said to him, she said, "Well, we walked down the sidewalk the other night going to the ice cream parlor, and you were looking at me." He went, "You flaky thing." She said, "Come on, Zona, let's go back in the meeting." I mean, I was in the room with my dad, and the phone rang, and this woman said, Is Brother Norval there?" And I go, "Yes." And then I give it to my dad, and he says, "What do you mean? You're not going home with me. What are you talking about?" She said to him, "Well, I'm ready to leave, Brother Norval. I'm ready to leave. I've got all my things packed." And he said, "Leave for where?" And she said, "Cleveland. I'm going to Cleveland with you. We're going to get married." And he said, "You ain't going to Cleveland with me, and we're not going to get married. I don't even know who you are." The devil is out there, I'm telling you, to deceive. He'd go to a motel, him and Jimmy. There'll be a woman that would be sitting in a chair by the elevator. He went in the elevator, he spotted her. He noticed that she was in the meeting on the front row. And she got in the elevator when he did. He just politely stepped out of the elevator and the door closed. He said, "That wacky woman's not riding in the elevator with me." He said, "Jimmy, this is what you do. We're going to walk up the stairs to our room. She don't need to know what floor I'm on or nothing." I mean, they had to go. I'm telling you, the devil is out to get people. The devil is out to get people. So when he was checking out of the hotel, that same woman was sitting by the elevator when he came out, and she went, Norval, I know it's God. I know it's God." And I looked at her and I went, "What?" She said, Dad said, "What do you mean you know it's God? What do you mean?" She said, "Well, you were looking at me when you were speaking, and you pointed right at me in the congregation." He said, "I didn't see you in the congregation. What are you talking about?" See, the devil's crazy. Totally crazy. I had a message on Facebook last night from some guy that wrote, "I like your profile. I would like to get to know you better." I went, "What?" I was reading it to Terry, and he went, "What?" I said, "I don't even know who this cat is. What in the world?" So I just deleted it.